Oh my goodness. Anyway, hi, I'm Gabriel, the founder of ANthroNW. Thanks for being here. I try to make myself available to people. Like this. If they have any questions or anything or want to know anything about the organization. So, yeah. Have any questions? Feel free to go for it. Anybody?
How did you get things started?
Well, I was new for a time. I just gotten fired from my job, and all my friends were work friends, they weren't real friends. And when I got fired, they all disappeared. I was on the internet and I found furry, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So I went to a meetup, and my first real meetup was the Rainforest Christmas party. Didn't know what Rainforest was, no idea. And thanks for coming in. Oh, just have it. I usually have the safety person here.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I was completely new to furry, and that's where they announced that Rainforest would be held again. And I was really inspired by the people in that room. I found them to be incredibly beautiful, kind, talented individuals. I'm like, gosh, they should have a convention. I went to BLFC, and that kind of sealed the deal. That was my first convention, and had such a good time. I'm like, well, I'm not really working right now, and I have a little time, so I took some time to start AnthroNW, and it was kind of a convention from the ground up. It was an interesting experience starting it, and all the aftermath of Rainforest and that stuff was something that had to be worked through with the hotel community and stuff. That's how it happened.
For someone who's not as familiar with the other cons and stuff up here, what were Rainforest and BLFC?
BLFC is a convention in Nevada. It was growing really fast at that time, like doubling every year. It's at, it used to be the MGM Grand Hotel, but they've renamed it.
Grand Sierra Resort.
Thank you. Exactly.
Biggest little fur con.
Yeah. It's fun. It is like walking into a painting, go-karts, laser tag, they rent the whole, it's a casino hotel. So like really good food there. I don't know, it was pretty magical. And like back in those days, you could get a room for like $120 for a suite a night. It was crazy good.
The very first BLSC, the rooms were only $69.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
but that was in 2013.
Yeah, no, it's a fun con. It's run by a really good guy. So yeah, is that Rainforest was the large Seattle convention. Gosh, I think it's been 9 years since that one's happened, and that had some problems that broke trust with the hotel business community. So the hotel community was really aware of what happened there and was very hesitant to allow another furry convention to happen, like any hotel anywhere. And that also contributed to what AnthroNW is as a convention. Like, you'll see a lot of families, it's a PG convention, it's accessible for all ages all the time. And a lot of that was driven by businesses recognizing certain behavioral patterns and associating them with certain groups. And whether that's fair or not, that's what they recognized. So to have a convention, we had to have kind of a different energy and a different vibe and a different content rating. Yeah, we kind of made our own little niche. Good.
So how did you find the hotel to host the convention at?
Yeah, I went to every hotel downtown. I'd make personalized visits. Started over at the Westin. They wanted $1 bajillion. Tried the Sheraton, and they told me they'd never allow a furry convention because there were children in the lobby. You guys. That was rough. Then we went to the Renaissance, and they were open to it. The guy who runs the Renaissance, he does some other similar conventions. He used to host Ren Fair over there, so he was more comfortable with people in costume. And we worked together really close to kind of define like the code of conduct, the behavior, the audience we're catering to, what we're about, which is community art and education. And that was in harmony and made them feel comfortable enough. The contract was pretty crazy. Like, they can just cancel it for any behavioral reasons. So like, just to have a contract like was a big step forward. We had it, people were respectful, people were fantastic, and were able to actually like have a con. Over the last 8 years, the AnthroNW attendees have built a good reputation, kind of redefined what furry is in Seattle, and the hotels are looking for furry business rather than like telling furries to go away. So there's been a really big change, and it's all of you that have earned that reputation just by the way you're kind of housekeeping and well behaved and like respectful of the space. So we can have nice things, we just have to be good. So, any other questions? All right. Let's see.
What would you say is your, like, the most challenging part of running the bank?
You know, it changes. This year's
Year to year.
growth. We planned on like, well, we thought we were gonna have 20% growth. We planned on 30%, or like looking, it might be like around 50%. So it's just a lot. It's great. We have a great space for it, and we can fit it. We just, you know, we're running out of badges, we're running out of landings, we're running out of plastic holders. Like, oh my gosh. It's fine with the panel load and stuff like that, and the line. They're not too long, just because like this hotel could be like 5, 6, 7,000 people pretty easily before it feels uncomfortable. So like, at least the space can handle it. I think the end users are having a good experience. The staff it's a lot for us because it's just a lot. We're not. I planned for 30%. I thought 20%. It's like 50%. So, oof. But yeah, that's the main thing. You know, in the beginning, the hard part was building trust. And there was trust to be built with the community, just because AnthroNW founding principles were a little different, like community art and education. Like furry definitely contains that, but most conventions are able to be more expressive, and they're typically more adult. So people are kind of like, what in the world is AnthroNW doing? You know. So over time, we were able to express who we are as a community and who we are as a convention. It's a little different than normal, but I think it's a place where everyone can be welcome. So trust building internally, and then trust building with the hotels, just because of history. That was pretty rough at the beginning, finding someone to take us. You know, once you're in, it gets a lot easier. We started the Regency at a smaller hotel. Good track record there. They, when we outgrew them, I had them introduce me to the Hyatt. We contracted this with this place when it was a hole in the ground, hadn't even opened. And we have a contract that's 7 years and it renews every year at the end, and we just kind of move forward. And they love us here. If you're gonna run a furry con, do it at Hyatt. Their corporate themes care, and it's not actually a lie. Like a lot of corporate themes are like, oh, we say these things, but we totally don't live them. And like, I don't know, like Marriott told me, I'm like, why do you guys go to work? Why do you have a hotel? They're like, to make money. I'm like, you're not supposed to say that, at least lie to me. But they did. I'm just like, wow, guys. But like Hyatt's about caring for people. It really shows in the way they take care of us here. So it's been a really good experience working with this brand. You'll find that like most of the big furry conventions are in Hyatts. It's pretty common.
Maybe with Bird Fest and Hair, Regency up there.
Yeah, they're very welcoming. Yeah, it's pretty cool. AC's, they started the Westin chain, so they have a really good relationship there. Kage is fantastic with business relationships, and the whole city celebrates when that con comes. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of them are in Hyatts.
Which one?
What's that?
Which one was that?
AnthroCon. That one is going back and forth with Midwest Fur Fest for like the biggest con in the world. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say they're like over 14,000 people.
I think got into like 18,000.
Is it really?
Like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so many. That's crazy.
Yeah, and there are like 5 or 6 hotels.
I know AC was up to like 22 contracted hotels last year. I talked to Kage when I was there. Wow. I don't even know how you do it. So I kind of like the size we're at
Lots of
now.
helpers, I assume.
Hear what?
Lots of helpers, I assume.
Yeah, they have a big staff. I think like one thing we need to change this year is like, I need more management. Like we're a pretty flat organization, but as we've grown to this size, like it's clearly time to start like having more department heads and just do their thing independently. So yeah, these are good problems to have though. Any other questions? What I do for work, if I have a life outside of this, I don't know.
Sure, that would sound like
Where
it.
it came from. So, yeah, so for at the common when people
Is
ask.
this your full-time job, or do you do something else?
I hope someday this can be my full-time job. If we double again, we probably maybe something can make that happen. I work for free, always have at this point. But yeah, my full-time job right now is a biomedical electrical engineer. I design cardiac devices. I work on implants, defibrillators, and external ECG monitors. These days I don't do much of the design except for maybe like patents and stuff, IP generation. We kind of leave the departments and the engineers that work on those devices. It's mostly like mentoring and tech support for fancy engineers. It's what I like to do. I'm lucky in that I have kind of 2 jobs in my life that provide a lot of meaning. You know, with the medical job, you have the opportunity to save lives. That's very palpable and real. And I'm thankful to have work that is meaningful. Like, it's pretty intense. There's a lot on the line when you're talking about a person. But like at the end of the day, you might have made someone's life a lot better. You might have extended it. If you're there in time, you can have them recover from something, especially like cardiac events. If you get there quick with an intervention, like they'll be fine. You get there after 10 minutes, they're brain dead. Like quality of life is not going to be good after that. So having an opportunity to provide tools to people that can help people in that way is, I'm thankful for that. And then AnthroNW is very special to me too. You know, it's a humanities-based organization. We try to cultivate the beauty that's inside of people and also on the outside with the fursuits and everything. It's a community I love. It feels like family to me. I have true friendships in that community. And it's really special to be able to give back a little bit to those who've given me so much. Any other questions? What you got?
What's your career before you got into the medical field?
Yeah. So I was working at small startups. I worked in network operations center originally. That was kind of my first job, and then I worked for a government contractor around the age of 16, doing push-to-talk interfaces for computers for military communication systems, like Regency's radio and stuff like that. At college, I co-founded a company with the fellow I was working at in San Diego. It was ANZIS, and it got bought up by Northrop Grumman. And we did a supercomputing company, making supercomputers out of FPGAs. And we did work for a lot of like 3-letter agencies and stuff, to do like encryption, key recovery, and stuff like that. I saw a job open at Phillips Medical. Always wanted to do medical. They wouldn't let me take classes in college because they didn't think I was cut out for it. I took the job. It was a tech job. It was like, 20 steps down from what I was doing at the supercomputer company. But within a couple of weeks, they had assigned me to a new project. I was getting to do real engineering work. And that kind of started my medical career. Don't be scared to take a step down if it gets you into the field you want. Like, it was a bummer being a technician and like soldering stuff for people for a while. Like, it's fine, I'm happy to do it, but like, as a designer, right? Like, it wasn't appropriate. I like literally dumbed down my resume to get the job and took tons of stuff off it. Because I wanted to be in that field so bad. And like, if you work really hard, especially at small companies, like they'll typically see that and put you in a place that's more appropriate. I mean, the other thing is too, like, sometimes there's been like pretty rough pay rates and pay cuts and stuff like that. But at at the end of the day, like I got to do something I really loved, and it gave a lot of more meaning to my life, I would say. So like, thing is too, like if you love it and you do it good, like there'll probably be a place for advancement. Somebody will see you, you know. So I guess I would, don't worry about always going straight up. It's okay to like, you know, kind of fluctuate as long as you're working towards the destination you want to be at. I think that's really important. And really any job, as long as you do it with love, I think you can make a really positive impact in people's lives. Like, people don't think about the janitor until he's not there. And the janitor, you know, keeps the space clean with love, does a really nice job. Like, that makes everyone around them happier. They might not be thinking about it and about him. Like, he's contributed very positively to society. So whatever you do, just do it with love. It makes the world a better place. Any other questions? Yeah.
So for a first-time attendee here, if there are one or two like must-see events, what would you recommend?
Yes. Every furry con, the most popular event is dance competition. So that is the one that everybody likes to go to, get in line early. It's got to be completely packed and insane. Also, like the TV's Channel 51, we have our program broadcasting if you want the best seats in the house. So that's on all the local room TVs. The feast is something that's unique to AnthroNW, so definitely if you have feast tickets, go to that. We of course sold out of feast tickets because we sold out of everything. Like, I'm gonna buy tons extra and we'll never use this up. Yeah, okay, anyway. Crazy. So that's a good one. Opening and closing. For me personally, those are important because that's the humanities side of things. You know, different strokes for different folks. Those are kind of big ones. There's a dance battle on Sunday. That's a pretty popular one. I tried to highlight, so on the schedule you'll see these bold panels. Those are the ones that are like really key panels that a lot of people like to go to. So you get the printed schedule, like you'll kind of see, like, take a look at the bold ones because those ones are pretty special. There's charity auction if you like to do auctions. Hubcaps. Bargain Bonanza is very, very, very popular. It's kind of a completely out of control, wacky auction with some really bad prizes and some really, 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 really nice stuff. Like, he's got some weird looking, like, vintage fox anthropomorphic statues in there that he picked up for $1 to garage sale. They're worth like $900. You can auction those off. So you'd probably get them for like $5. I don't know. There's a, it's a pretty fun one. So I think those are the big ones. You know, when I started in the fandom, I would like plan my schedule, like do the panels, and do all the things. Now when I go to con, like, I just walk around and enjoy the people. I typically don't go to any panels anymore. Just enjoy the space, enjoy friends. But you know, the convention experience is different from everybody, and for everybody, and what you want to get out of it is always different. So really, I would just pull up the schedule, see what looks good to you. All right. Any other questions? Well,
I'll ask another one from the question. What's your persona?
it's a secret. I don't typically share it publicly because I used to get a lot of death threats and stuff. It's normal for convention chairs or anyone who has a presence on social media. It's just something that happens in the world. Not necessarily from furries, but like this is the way people sometimes express themselves online. So I keep it secret for that reason, for my safety, and also like if people know it's me, sometimes they treat me differently. One of the beautiful things about a fursuit is you can be more natural, and people can be more natural to you. If they don't know who you are, it's kind of like a blank slate. You can really experience the people. I love to put on seat and go see my volunteers and see how they're doing. It's great. It's pretty fun. But you don't know it's me unless I open my mouth. Distinct voice. So yeah, I'm a fox, but I'm not going to tell you which one. Yeah. It's also, as social media has kind of collapsed, like people don't use Twitter as much anymore. There's not a lot of activity on the account. there's a very different experience interacting with the community, and it's a lot better. In person, people tend to be pretty chill and easy. With social media, you know, you're reaching a bajillion people, and some of them might be unbalanced and react in a way that's really hurtful. So you just kind of have to keep that in perspective. You know, it's one thing if you have someone on the street corner screaming at the air. We can quickly identify that, you know, that's not a personal attack on us. That person, you know, has a medical condition, and we shouldn't take it personally. But when it's words coming at you through a screen, it's really hard to make that assessment. Like, should I internalize that? Is that feedback for me? Is it just someone who's having a problem, and it really isn't reflective of what we're doing? You know, social media is difficult. But we've seen very little interaction with social media in the last couple of years. So that's actually been a lot easier for the staff because we don't get so much of like the abrasive comments and stuff. People are pretty chill. And also I think the convention's being more accepted by the community. So that's helped as well. People show a lot of appreciation. And that's, we're thankful for that. It's very well. Staff works really hard on it. So it's nice when people say something to them. Any other questions? Sure.
And for your persona, do you have a fursuit that goes with it, or do you wear the Andy mascot?
Good question. I do have a persona and a fursuit. I actually made it myself 8 or 9 years ago. It's getting kind of old. Time for a new one. Doesn't quite fit too good anymore. But I do love him. Yeah, so I did that. I have played Andy once or twice. Typically, it was in the early days of AnthroNW. We'd go like to MFF, and Andy would come and like do promotion or something like that. I really don't like playing Andy because I'm performing as a character, and it's very unnatural. Andy is not me. Very different energy. It's hard. It's really hard for me. Like, I'll do it if I have to, but it's very difficult. Whereas my personal character, it's kind of like me without the externals and the filters turned off. I feel a lot more free. I can be expressive. I don't have to, you know, worry about how I look or how I sound or whatever. So it's kind of, my fursuit for me brings out the best parts of me. It allows me to be myself. So I'm not really acting when I play my character. And it's a pretty magical experience every time I do it. And I'm thankful for the tools of a fursuit to be able to have those kinds of experiences. So I really prefer that. I love Andy. He's a wonderful dog, Wolf, and I'm glad he's here, but I'm not the one who likes playing him. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions? Sure.
And so like after the convention's over or before it starts, like you know where you always store all the supplies or the equipment that's used specifically for the convention.
So I didn't hear the first part of your question, but I think you're asking where does all the stuff go when it's over?
Yeah.
Yeah. All goes into storage. So you'll see in front of the hotel there's 5 trailers down there. All of AnthroNW fits in the 5 trailers, except for like Regency, the main ballroom. That's all. Kelson is the contracting company, and then we have another company that's doing audio this year. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, besides that, yeah, everything fits in the 5 trailers. It goes into storage for the rest of the year. After we kind of transport it back to our home base, everything gets pulled out. It gets cleaned and organized. We do the convention laundry, which takes me about 2 weeks. It happens in my house. My entire living room is filled with fursuits and blowers. And, you know, like all the mascot suits have to be cleaned. And you can't send that stuff off. Like, you really have to do it yourself. The blankets for the blanket fort, cleaned laundry machine. The balls in the ball pit, like, I have a little kiddie pool. We put some bleach and some soap in it and shake the balls around and get them all nice. People have no idea what goes into a convention, but like after the convention's over, literally there's a year of prep. This year had a focus on increased safety and communication. So like you'll see cameras around Con, there's 64 of them, and there's like a lot of computer networks and stuff like that. So faster internet for vendors and volunteers and registration, like a satellite dish on the roof. There's all kinds of stuff going on this year. A lot of tech projects. We had a project to distribute audio around the hotel, which didn't work because I didn't set up the switches right, and video as well. So every year we kind of have some initiatives. At the end of the year, we look at feedback from volunteers and the members as well. We're like, all right, where do we want to be next year? How can we get there? What do we need to buy? What do we need to set up? What policies do we need to change? Like, we're very much an organization that believes in continuous improvement. Like, how do we get better each year? How do we provide us a better experience? How many people can we have, you know, and still provide that experience, right? It's about quality, not quantity for us. So there's a lot that goes into planning. It's pretty much a full-time job for me at this point, in addition to my other full-time job. So it's going to be a lot. If you think about volunteering, please sign up. We need more volunteers. Help us out. We'd love to have you. So always could use more. All right.
Are you talking about for next year?
Yeah, we don't have volunteers at Con, right? Because we have a pretty extensive like background check process. Like once again, quality, not quantity. Like, we want to make sure we get the right people in those volunteer roles because they really set the tone and the energy of the convention.
You've all been pretty great so far.
Thanks. I'm having a good time. So yeah, it's really important to us to have the right people in the right roles. And you know, if something doesn't work out, like there's so many different roles we can switch people around and like find the perfect job for them. AnthroNW has also been a little bit different. Normally you have like roles and you fill them. We kind of went backwards. We're like, here's the people. What does the convention look like? As we add a volunteer, like how does that change the convention? How do we make the perfect role for them so they can best express themselves? I mean, we all have to do jobs, you know, like that's life. But for the most part, like we want people to be at their best, and they're at their best when they're doing the things they love. So we build the organization around the people that come to us and want to serve the community. All right. Anybody else?
What types of characteristics would make the best staff or volunteer for the convention?
Did you do the first part? What was that?
Do you know what are the best characteristics that a staff or volunteer should have?
That is a really good question. I think love of community is probably the starting point for being a really good volunteer. You know, after that, it's typically icing on the cake. Social skills are important, right? Because we're an organization, we all have to work together. So that's probably the second most important thing, how we talk to each other, how we get along, how we collaborate, how we work on projects together. That's a really big one. And then like everything else can help kind of determine what role you're in. Like we think about what are your likes. So do you like technical things? Well, all right, back-end infrastructure, something like that. Do you like AV, lights, video, something like that? But you have the main stage, they have a huge department up there that helps run everything. Like it takes a lot to run main stage. Are you a commercial truck driver? We have logistics drives. Our jobs. Are you good at organizing things? Like that could be more of a managerial role, like scheduling or something like that. Running conventions is kind of like running a city. There's a job for everybody, and the jobs are very diverse. We have 70-year-olds in our hospitality suite that volunteer, and they make homemade food for our volunteers in their own kitchen. They bring it here, we eat it. Like it's pretty special. AnthroNW is pretty unique in that we have kids in strollers all the way up to like we see 85-year-olds. It's the full range of diversity in terms of age, interests, ethnicities, orientation. It is a really special place where you can interact with pretty much every type of human there is. And I think that's one of the things that makes very special very welcoming group. One thing I really appreciate about Furry too is that some of our members that have disabilities and things like that, they're like full members. They look forward to these furry cons all year long, and they're treated like human beings. I had an aunt who was like very mentally disabled, like very low functioning, and all you had to do was like say hi and be a human to her, and she would light up and be happy. And I see that so often in furry, like humans being treated like humans, and like that's all they need, and that's special for them. They don't normally get that. So I'm so proud of the community, how they welcome everybody, different skills and interests, and everything. I don't know any other place like it, to be honest. Very special people. Alright. Anything else? Sure.
And on the side of like volunteering, do they also have a position for setting up like the virtual gateway as well?
We do. We don't have a VR world this year, which is sad. I mean, we have the world, but nobody volunteered to actually run the portal. So that would be a need that would be really nice to fulfill. A lot of our community can't come, so they interact with us through the VR world, and we've had that, last 4 years or so. But it's hard. A lot of the people that are interested in that don't physically come to the con that can manage that sort of world. So, yeah, unfortunately, we're wired up for it. I wish I had somebody to run it. If we did, we would have it. So yes, if you're interested in that, we would love to talk to you after convention. It'd be pretty special. Make a lot of people happy. Anybody else? Sure, what you got?
So this is my first time at ANW. There was talk in the opening ceremony that this was a 4-year cycle, of course, regards things and like that. So just kind of want to learn a little bit more about, how that came up with and the kind of progression of that.
So we, just like there's 4 seasons in the year, we pick 4 themes in a 4-year cycle, just like the cycle of the year. So we had, in this 4-year cycle, which is, this is our last year of the 4-year cycle, the first season was spring, and that was friendship. And then it was the cycle of life, right? And then the second year was summer, and that was love. Third year was fall, and that was family. And winter is this year, which is remembrance. And the seasons have different energies and different moods to them. And we kind of try to track like what it feels like in the Pacific Northwest during those different times. Our cycle themes are always humanities based. So yeah, we chose the cycle of life for last year. And then we'll announce the next set of 4 at closing ceremony this year. A little bit lighter than normal. My staff is like, you can be a little happier. We have lighter themes. I'm like, all right, fine. So we got some pretty good ones coming up.
What kind of inspired you to do the 4-year cycle? Is it just standard 7? So it wasn't like the first 3 years or something there.
Yeah, it kind of happened. A lot of times the themes are inspired by artwork. And a lot of times the artwork is undefined. Like theme artwork for ANW4. And it appears. If it makes me cry, it usually gets picked as the theme. And the artwork we had made me think of friendship. It was 2 different paws holding a rose. This yellow rose for friendship. I'm like, ooh, this could work. Like next year, red rose, love. So it kind of evolved. Like honestly, on the first 4-year cycle, we didn't really see the end of the tunnel at that point and what it would become. But after that the first year cycle, like, all right, we can plan the next 3 years, and it kind of evolved from there. Cycle of life. You're right. The first couple of years, it was like pure imagination, growth beyond self, like humanities focused kind of one-off themes. then we tried to get a little more depth into the story, develop the characters, add some more characters to be more representative of the community. We have found families like Storm and Clover found family, whole gender spectrum there. So it's I don't know. It feels more complete with the additional characters. We're also we're big on family and promoting intimate relationships and things like that. So having a family, we felt was a good way to promote closeness between people. And if people think of intimate and they think of a lot of times a sexual thing, but for us in a convention, you can have that kind of intimacy and that closeness to another human being, and that's what we're about. Not the physical stuff. So, and that stuff is fine too. None of my business, but yeah, just as a convention, right? We want to promote humanities. We want to promote connection between people, and we want those connections to be strong. I think that's really important. It doesn't just have to be your wife or your family. You can legit have friends as an adult, and that's something a lot of people do not get a chance to experience. It's a very special place. Any other questions? Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming. I'm always available on email. Well, after Sunday, I'll be available again on email. I'm pretty busy during con time. But you can always get a hold of me. I'm there, the board's there. Our volunteers are there to support you during the year. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, we are all ears. Anyway,
Is there a feedback panel at the end of it?
We don't have a feedback panel. I do have a comment box. I've found that feedback panels tend to get dominated by a couple very loud voices. So we tend to receive, we'll send you after con, we'll send you a feedback Google form. You're always welcome to leave comments. You're always welcome to call the number. It goes to my cell phone during the year. It doesn't right now, but the rest of the year, I'm happy to talk. So we do appreciate the feedback. We get a lot of really good stuff. It's hard to improve in a vacuum. I need the members sending me feedback. Sometimes it is rough, sometimes it is really positive, but all of it is important. We read all of it and we think about all of it as we try to plan for next year. So if you have some, please send it on over. Awesome. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful AnthroNW West. And I will see you around the convention.